I mean, I mostly don't like too much of slides, but I mean, this is very important to understand that when you work for the AI specifically, Python is the key information to how to learn these things. I have not learned Python seriously, but in last 3 4 months, I've done a lot of projects. So I thought this I can share something which is important, and I learn myself. So it's a self learning I do, and also practice. And then I do the things and all. So let's see how it works, and then we see what does think. Um, about myself in 10 seconds. I'm a regional Microsoft Cloud architect in one of the organizations in Singapore. I'm based in Singapore, and I'm very passionate to learn and then share knowledge with others. So I keep learning a lot of things. I learned amazing content, which Buma Masher is so good, and I mean like the way she speaks so clearly and the articulate things so easily to the audience is a wonderful thing. So I mean she's still there. Thanks to Boma. So thanks for that. And I just want to share that this is my LinkedIn contacts, and you can contact me at Gmail, whatever it is. I don't check that much, but I'm very busy with projects. But if I can contact frequently if you want to contact me. Okay, agenda is very simple. I won't go deep dive into Python. I just give you the basics and how it's different from other languages, and the role of Python in ML and AI, and how we can use AI and ML using our OpenAI services, how we can use it. So at least you get some base and how we can work. And then the main thing which talk about how we can use speech to text models of OpenAI, Azure OpenAI specifically, and how we can use some use cases with that. So you get some basic context. And again, in 50 minutes, it's very difficult to check everything, but I give a glimpse, and I also put everything to GitHub, step by step how to do. So you can see it in the and by Monday you can see all things inside. I've shared it with on LinkedIn as well, and we see the how we can build the this application using VS Code, Python, and using Azure OpenAI. This is a simple demo, but the core thing is to understand how the Python and the OpenAI can work together, gel up with that. Okay. Now, and I mean, I have only 2 demos, and this is a long demo, so I just want to get context out there. Now, first thing first, let's go to the Python. What is this? I give a demo. I know you, the audience, are not snakes, but I just want to do that how you can learn. So I will get to is very small. I mean, how it's pretty good picture. So that how you can teach Python. So I give you a crash course in the one of the demos. But most important thing, why we have to learn Python, and I have to use it now because of the many projects I do, right, are actually using Python, right? And one thing which is which Python developers, my Python who actually develop I mean the people, they mentioned that they want to be very easy for the users, right? Not everyone should, not the coders, right? So they want to make simple for them, right? So they want to have user friendly, right? And it's a no question, right? It's there for many years. Programming language, all language, you know that C# is there and all. The number one language for last 10 15 years is always Python. The reason being why is important is because it's versatile, right? You can do web development, right? You can do C# the same thing. But what actually is very good for Python is that it can do a lot of other aspects like data science, AI, ML, right? This is mostly, not all the languages might have that kind of capabilities. So I just want to give you context that why Python, if you want to learn Python, get started now because the new jobs we'll be getting, right, are more into the into AI specifically and what. I have not done AI part. I've done a couple of things. And last only 2 years back, I started with the AI part. I have some knowledge now. I'm just sharing that what I have learned and how we can use it. Right. So AI, you can be a beginner today, but you can be expert in 1 or 2 years. So take some time for that. Don't worry. Now, why is Python is revolutionizing the tech industry, specifically at the age of Gen AI, is because of it can do lot of amazing stuff, right? 3 pillars I want to share you. It has pandas. Now, pandas, maybe I various to see. The pandas is specifically for your data analysis, right? Think about Power BI. You can have integrate with Python with your your Power BI with Python code, right? That is something which we can do. We can use something called as NumPy, which is mostly used for statics, right? So maths kind of very complex scenarios, we can do NumPy. That's something very, very important to understand, right? I'm talking about data science specifically right now. Matlib, that is something that's very important for giving graphs, right? So it's something which is we can use it for visualizations. That's important, right? We can use Jupyter notebooks. Jupyter notebooks is give you context that it give you a code, give a documentation, and people can reuse it. And it's for many, many years people are using it. This is because I'm from Microsoft. I work with Microsoft. So I just wonder how people are using it. So now it's because AI is all the places, just not in Microsoft, all the places. If you want to learn, please learn Python because you get more jobs, more job skills rather than others. I mean, jobs will be still there, but the number of job roles will be slightly lesser, right? So something about that. Now, TensorFlow, and PyTorch are all. I mean, a lot of things are done by Google and other things and all. So they are very, very good for using for specific AI. And everyone we have know about OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, mostly used for our demos. We will use it, right? How we can use it. And then machine learning, we have Skillskit, TensorFlow, Keras are something which is we can use it. Now, you think that, oh, this is alien, we don't know. Even I didn't know only a few months back I learned. So what I want to share you, all the slide deck will be shared with you with the GitHub repo, step by step how you do. So you can get the steps there, right? Because if in this 50 minutes, it's difficult to know everything. But because I have a step-by-step guide, you just follow that, you can learn that, right? You can ask me the LinkedIn or through Gmail. I can actually I will contactable, right? So something which you can learn. So that's something about that. Now, this is something which I done for last 6 months, right? Learning Python, right? And there's so many amazing videos. A few are not so good, so I curated few things, right? These are the few free resources I learned from these people. I mean, they're free and really good. They have this guy, Corey is amazing. 7 to 8 years, he's just making Python videos and all, right? If you want to learn from him. It's so great. And then this guy from is a Mosh is Israeli. The way he explained Node.js and also Python is amazingly good. 6 hours of videos there. I can do it. But mostly what I do, right, because I learn from practice, I go for some. I have labs. So I have these labs which I learned. So Python for beginners, I have these labs. I just practice from that and practice on my PC, right? Something which you can use. And if you want to learn basically on the slightly more concept of machine learning, which I discussed, right? Data science and Gen AI, go to this particular course. Really, really good courses. Why I filtered other courses because not, I mean, it takes some time to learn, but these are the beginner courses, I tell you. This, the number two, maybe is a beginner, but also he talk about around 14-15 hours only on machine learning and Python. If you want to go slightly advanced, you can go for the second course. It's really good, right? I have using Udemy for last 15 years. So I just use it because I want to learn, right? Now, what is Python? What is Python? Let's work on that and then we give you a glimpse that how is it, right? I'm going to stop sharing and then I will share my other window, which has okay, I have to stop. Then I go to my other screen, which has a Jupyter now. So again, in my GitHub, you'll see the step by step how to install Python, how to install the Jupyter notebook. To save time, I just give you a glimpse, right? I have installed Python. I installed something called as Anaconda. It's not a snake, but something is used for mostly for data science and Jupyter notebook in one place you can do it. Now, one thing I want to share with you that as I explained to you, that we can have a different kind of um, processes, different kind of libraries. So NumPy is the highly complex scenarios for maths courses. You can do these things. So very, very simple. So example, I want to have maybe have a 90,000 something. I click and I click on my cell and the data is shown there, right? I can put this. I know you didn't get the understanding because this is an external library which I have imported in my Python, and just showing it. So you see that how simple, just by simple 2, 3 lines, I can show my thing. And this is the beauty of Python. You don't need lot of coding required. Everything's quite simple. If you know the basics of which modules to install, right? Example, we'll be using in our demo, OpenAI and Azure OpenAI, right? Same thing we can use for some data, right? Example, I want to go for maybe filter data for 50, 60 or something, and then I see I click on that, I click on my cell, and this data is short. Now you can't get the value because it's just a glimpse at how we can use it. So I'm still using a definition of a function, and I'm calling this function. That is something which we will do. Now, this is a power of data science and AI together, and this is why Power Python is so popular, right? Now, let's go to basics of Python, and then we work on the things, right? Want to give you the basics of how it works, right? So let me save it and then show that one. So first thing first, okay, as different from a longer, Python has some nuances, right? They are a bit different from other languages. So here, what I'm doing, I'm creating an array in Python. It's not array; they call it as list. In C Sharp, we will call it as array, and in Power Apps, Power Automate, we use arrays, right? But here in Python, we use something called as list, right? And list, I can add the as many content or make it something else. I can just put it there. And just like for each loop in C Sharp and Power Apps, right? We can actually have some code inside, right? Now this code is very simple. I just want to have my numbers and print it whether this number is odd or even, right? I'm using a module function and all, and that is how I can use it. So I click on this cell, click on press, I will get this thing. Now I put white space is important. What are the most important thing for to understand that if you don't intend, okay, I click on that, I will get an error, right? So here in white space is important because here you must have indentation, right? So if I don't do any indentation, I will get an error, right? So there are two ways people mostly use it. They're using 2 tabs or 4 tabs, but be consistent. Typically, I use only 2 tabs. That is the one you show on the screen, but people can use 4 tabs. I mostly use 2 tabs. It's easier. So this is the way that white space and the indentation is super important when you learning Python, right? Second thing which I showed you earlier that we can import Azure OpenAI service, anything we can use it. So here I'm just importing a module which is called as NumPy, for mostly using for statistics data. So I just put somewhere, I just put some number, and I just want to show you the number here. Just put 25, and I just print, right? And this is I'm showing that how we can import an external library inside Python, right? This is a way you can do it. The list, again, list is similar. We have seen in languages C Sharp and Power Automate, same thing we can do it. So here I can add as many things I can use it. I can use 12. I can add manage as well, right? Something on that, maybe 25, whatever it is. And then len. People know about C Sharp and Power Apps. Len is a function which we can get the actual values. So same thing, same concept in C Sharp and Python. We just click on that. We get len function. We get the exact number of items inside list. Okay. Then a different thing in Python that we can have a substring in C Sharp and Power Apps. You can substring in here we use slicing. I want to slice only for last few characters, right? So when I click on the first 2 characters, I will get this function. I click on that. So it get only the first 3 characters. I can do the last 3 characters as well. So while I will click on that, I will get this value. So what happening at right this point of time, I can do slicing, dicing using list operations. Right now, if you know about Power Apps, Power Automate, we have a function called as extend. You can extend your list or data coming from SharePoint or from SQL Server. Same concept we have in Python, which is called extend. So I can extend my fields, and so this is the new data I added. So new data is coming to my list. Okay, I can also append the data, same thing. So all the arrays and power apps you have seen, same kind of concept we can get in Python. The only things, the nuances are that you have some the white spaces, indentation is important and all. So you have to be understanding how it works typically, right? That's something good. We can also getting an array, multiple arrays. I can get the data from there. So I have two list. One is X, second is Y. So I can combine those things inside and show as a array, right? As a list, sorry, not array list, because I'm using C# and Power Apps, so it's always get confused with that, right? And we can extract the value. Again, we can extract the value. Why giving this information is because you can practice in that. And I show you again step by step how we can do it in this part. Again, sorting function we have in C# and Power Apps. You can do the same, exactly same function, and we can also reverse as well. So these are the few basics of Python. I mean, 101 Python. In 20 minutes, I want to show you how we can use it. Yeah. So rather than using arrays, we use list in Python, and something called as tuples. If you people know about C#, you have also have tuples. So what is tuples does is that you can't change the content, right? Example, if you have a bracket, right? So when I put the bracket, which means this content can't be modified or can't be changed. Okay, so when I click on 1, 2, 3, maybe I put this one as a 4, and this will be always fixed. I can't change it, right? So if I want to use it, I have to actually use in my one of my code, right? That is something, a constant field in your C#. Similar kind of concept you can add. Okay, and then we can also we have a multiple arrays we can do. Again, I'm using arrays list. We can use it, and we can also have a split functionality which there in C# and Power Apps. Okay, so why I'm telling these things, because when you do slightly more complex programming in Python, you might have to use it. Okay, yeah. And I think last two I'm sharing the dictionary. If you know about the stacks and this, we can use stacks. In you, if you know about Power Apps, we use collection. Yeah, same concept we can use in Python. We can have some. This is the all the people inside the Star Trek, right? These are all the people. So we can print these people in type and then show it. So I just print it out. So this is the way you can just print it out. Now, this is a static data, but you can get data from your SharePoint or from SQL Server or from Cosmos DB. This is just an example which I'm sharing with you. Okay. Now, if you want to get the value from the captain, which is Kirk, so I have to click on that. I will get that information from that. So again, example which I will get it, right? Again, you can use for each loop. Now, these are the basics of Python. I mean, I mentioned there's 6 hour on 4 hours videos on that. I give you glimpse on only for the basics on that, but you can get some value from that. What I'm telling you, because in the next 1 or 2 years, there are more jobs required for AI. And if you know AI, if you have job for AI, you have to know Python and machine learning, right? So I'm not a machine learning expert. I'm not a Python expert, but I'm keep learning, right? So if you get the basic of things of the AI, the Python should be your go-to language. So again, if you go for square, I mean, if you know C#, the same thing we can use that one. So I can have a square, show the value, and then I can use it in my code, right? So this is a basic. I mean, I'm not giving all the things we can do. Booleans, same thing which I've learned in C# and Power Apps, same kind of controls are there. The only thing is Python is slightly more typically used for AI and machine learning, right? That is a beauty of Python, right? So let's now deep dive. Now we have learned a basic of in 20 minutes. We have learned about what is AI, what is Python, why we use it. Some basic thing in 20 minutes. We learned about what is modules, how we can use it, what is a list. We got some different information. Let's move forward. Now let's move forward to the AI space, right? So I'm going to move to my next slide deck, which is about the speech to text, right? And we see some use cases, right? Now, again, this is basic. I'm not talking about in depth. I'm talking the basics, right? Now, AI, Azure AI is very vast, very vast, right? And I'm just giving a very small piece, but it's called speech to text. Uh, Again, very small piece, which is called speech to text only, right? We have a lot of Gen AI context, and we are using Gen AI also inside that, right? So before we get a glimpse of that, this is something is coming from Gartner. This is a we the AI investment has doubled in last couple of 2 years, maybe typically, right? Because the AI has become go-to for all the things, right? Even for the healthcare and also for the financial institute, they are using a lot. They are using, right? And then what is also important is that what we can do that a lot of organizations are adopting AI, right? The people who are on premises or they have mix of hybrid, they're also adopting. It's just not big tech companies like Google, Microsoft, and AWS. A lot of people are using it, right? And a lot of users are actually embracing AI, right? I use AI for all the things. I use AI for my projects. I use for my daughter's homework because there's few questions are very tricky, and I don't know how to explain. So I just use AI for that, right? ChatGPT or other things, right? I use Gemini also for that at times. So this is the era we are working, and then we have to get that knowledge about how the AI can help us, right? What Bhuma said, right? The AI is a tool, right? And use it a tool, and it won't replace humans. I'm telling you, I have seen many people, oh, AI will replace humans. It won't replace humans. It won't replace humans. Maybe after 40 50 years may, but not at this point of time. AI is not that smart to do replace humans at this point of time. Maybe for after 25 years it may not, right? So we have to use AI for our benefit, right? And that's why we're learning this in this particular course, right? How we can do it, right? And then the good thing about the ChatGPT, which you're talking about, is that we can use for different kind of modalities. So, or what is modality? Modalities means that rather than using now, I know everyone use ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT 3.5, the free one, right? Can we use speech for that? Answer is no. I mean, if you're using free one, you can't use it, right? Can we do vision for that? Can we have images analysis? We can't do it, right? But what happening in GPT-4 specifically that we are actually embedding lot of other things. We are embedding the speech, right? The ChatGPT 3.5 is always be there, right? It's not scared there, but we also put in vision, right? We can have images, we have some kind of or audio videos for that. So that is the beauty which the ChatGPT 4 is doing, and then new version also. I'm not talking about ChatGPT, but other models, whether it's a Llama, which from Meta, from Gemini, right, from Google, they are also coming the same thing. So we have to be open minded that we have to learn just not the ChatGPT, but also learn from other models because each models are different, have the capabilities, right? So that one, I mean, I'm focusing on the ChatGPT for this point of time, right? And here in this our demo, we'll work on the speech only, right? Let's see on that. So when you go to, I mean, I'm not giving you a lot of demos here. I just want to give not the slide deck. I give you the context so you can get the value from that. So yeah, Azure OpenAI services are you tunable, right? And what we learned from previous sample from Uma that you can tune it, right? So ChatGPT 4 is amazingly good. It has multi models, which means you can do speech, you can do voice, you can do a lot of things. So that is the beauty of ChatGPT 4. We have Whisper. What is Whisper? We talk about Latin later. Dolly, everyone knows. ChatGPT 4 Vision is in preview. Now, Whisper, what is Whisper? Is a model by OpenAI through which we can have speech to text. Okay, so we'll in our demo now. Again, I'll give you narrow down the scope, but what we do in our demo. Okay, so we work on a demo which called a Whisper model, which is a speech to text model. Okay, again, we're using speech to text model using open AI service. I'm not talking about Meta. I'm not talking about Gemini. We use open AI services to do it. I want to appreciate that all other models are equally good. Okay, all models are good, right? So try all the other models, but for our demos, we're using a Whisper model. Okay. So, what is a whisper model, right? Whisper model is a speech to text model, which we see in the demo, and also is created by OpenAI. And again, Microsoft actually use it in our own models, right? So the good thing is that is a LLM which is use a very large content. Now, if you know that 3.5 ChatGPT 3.5 has a data which is around 45 terabyte of data, right? Again, for the your GPT-4 is a 1 petabyte. Again, 1 petabyte uh, is a 10,000 times more stronger than ChatGPT 4. 3.5, yeah. So each models have become more stronger. Again, 4.5 you to, I mean, GPT-4 you to pay, but in Bing is free, right? So the context is here that when you work on LMM, you're talking about very large data set, which is around 45 terabyte to petabyte kind of data, right? And then here the input could be any language, right? So I speak Hindi, I speak people speak Tamil, people speak other languages, maybe French, German. So input can be any language, but this point of time at Whisper, the output is always English. Okay, output is always English, but input can be any language you can go for. Okay. Okay. So this is again everything will be shared with you. I did give you this the Microsoft Learn how we can use it, how the APIs can be called, and how the different limitations. Again, each model have limitations. So this document will give you all the information there, right? Because rather than giving you all things, right? Now the other things we have to when you deploy, we have to understand there are two ways we can deploy. The first model is using Azure OpenAI, but it's very good because we can easily transcribe our files, right? And from different languages, we can use it, right? So in our demo, we are using OpenAI. There's another way, which is called as the Azure SDK, which is called as speech to text. That is, it again, depend on the use cases. If your files are more than 25 MB, you can't use this one. Okay, you have to go for this particular SDK, right? But the good thing about this SDK that you can use for large audio files. And if you know about Microsoft Streams, use about Microsoft Teams also, the you can, example, I speak in a different tone, Bhuma speak in a different tone, and Nandeep and Smita speak in a different tone. So if you use this particular model, the model actually able to distinguish who is speaking, whether Aroh is speaking, is Bhuma speaking, or Nandeep is speaking. That is the beauty of these deployment options, right? I'm not going for this as a demo. In our demo, we use a simple content, which is just one line of content, and then we work on that, right? But again, must understand that when you do deploy, you have to do which options you go for that. That is important to take note. Okay. Now, let's see the use cases. Very important to take use cases, right? Let me go to the use cases. And the first one use cases is about transcribe the audio, right? Think about Microsoft Stream. Sorry, not Stream. Teams, right? When we have large audio, a lot of people are speaking, right? Think about there are a lot of speakers speaking, right? So it can actually transcribe the what the audio was spoke by different odd people, and it will give you text for that, right? That is the beauty of the your Azure OpenAI service. Now, Stream is maybe Teams is using a different model, but I give it a context that you can use that particular context for that. Okay. The other use is using your other languages, right? What is the business use case? Think about international business meeting. Think about I'm going to US, and there are a lot of people coming from different languages, from Japan, from India, one from Italy. So when they speak, right, it's very difficult to understand how what because I mentioned diarization, right? They each speaker had different way of speaking, right? So it will actually transcribe all the languages into English. So either I speak Hindi, I speak German, whatever it is, it will transcribe the data to for this. So it's very good for the business use cases, right? That's something which we can do. And the third is it can provide a prompt, which we'll do in our demo, right? In our demo, we work on that. So why we using, think about podcast, right? So we have a lot of people who do podcast, but again, podcast can be done in Tamil, can be worked in Gujarati, could be worked in English, again, German and other languages. So I can translate that prompt to my podcast for people who have not able to understand the different languages, and the output will be in English. So these are some use cases which can be used in for our speech to text. Okay, these are something which we can understand, right? Now, before I go for demo, I just want to give you that I mentioned to you that different models, deployment options. But when you go for regional support, when you create any service, you have to understand that these services are applicable for only for the this models only, right? If you're using Azure OpenAI, you have to use this regions. Again, for Azure AI speech service, exactly same thing you have to do, right? So this is something which we have to understand, and how we can use it. I will do a demo. So this is my demo part is over. Let's do on the part of the deployment part, right? Which I always love. Okay, so let me go and share my uh, screen. Okay, and in here, what I'm going to is that to share about the models. We have done this thing. Now let's go to things. Right now, I click on this is my Azure portal, and I go to Azure AI services. Okay, now everything is all demos. Okay, and then what I can do, right? There you can see that lot of things. AI services have lot of options. You have translator, you have language, speech, lot of things we can do. But here, because we're using open AI services, I click on that, and I use a model which is called as Whisper model. Model is Whisper model. So I click on that. I click on that particular region. Okay, and then we can work on this, right? So something which was easy to do, right? Now what I will do, I just click on my resource group. I will now remember we have to go for different regions, so I can go to East US, right? Let's see what kind of regions we can support. Right, we have yeah, East Coast US, so I will use East US. Okay, East US, and the name I put Azure demo Pune thing, right? And create the tier. Okay, I can tell that. Okay, I click on next one, right? This is the beauty of Azure, that very easily. Now, one thing I will keep telling to people that for demos is okay, right? When you're in production, never ever put all networks. The reason being is very unsafe. Always put a selected network, like I have different network, but for demo I just go for all network, because in the enterprise people never go for all networks. They put selected networks, right? So I go for this a demo. So we do a demo here. And then the best practice, I always use it. I just use the model, right? Which is my visual model. Okay. I always stack. Why use stacks? Because if my organization want to see the usage of my model, he can see it. Okay. And then I can build on based on that. I'm talking about enterprise users, right? So enterprise users, all organization pay on the each user. So if I use my name, then my name will be listed. Then they ask me, Aroh, you have to pay for that, because our budget is only for $500. You paid 1,000, so you have to top up $500 for that. So depends on how you can use it. So multiple use case we can go for that. Tags are super important for the governance, right? And then we can just work on that. So this is a summary, very easy, no rocket science. Some tweaks I mentioned to you about, never go for all network, go for this basic, and then click on that. So I already have this service which is called East One. I just click on that, so I don't waste my tokens. I click on that, and in this particular aspect, what I can do is that I can go to click on the model right here. Click on the model. What you will get, you get a lot of good things there, right? Like Boomer mentioned that we can do a lot of things here. Our demo, we work on the speech to text. Okay, we are doing speech to text. So this is came only because you see, because I selected the region but is supported. That's why this is coming up. If you are using different regions, it won't show up. Right, so it's important during deployment, always select the regions which is supported by Microsoft. Okay, so I click on that. What will happen is that it will give me a text. Okay, you can do this. I'm not deploying. I give you I can deploy on my service. I can do translations. I can drop my audio. So I can deploy these services very easily using a model, the basic normal model. But if our use cases, not all the use cases, we do some programming. We have to use some programming, and that's why the Python code will help us, right? I can just drag drop and just, yeah, I can test it out. It's very good for demo purposes, but not for when you do actual programming or do something on the Python. We do work on that. So we work on that and we be able to see how it works. Okay. And you have a lot of demo samples there. Where is my, yeah, you have a lot of languages. Again, Hindi is there, and a lot of other language you can do translations, right? So something which you can use it. Okay. So this is the one demo that how I can deploy my speech to text using different regions, and how we can deploy in using in my speech studio, which is in my tenant. Okay. So that is something which we can do right now, right away, right? Now, before I will do, like, can use the beauty that I can do for different services. Speech to text, we can do it. We can do the batch. I remember, we have a batch. We have to use the API, right? We have to use the Azure AI speech SDK, custom speech. So lot of amazing stuff we can do with the speech to text models. Really, really amazing. No coding required, right? But many times we code is required. Then we can go for that. Obviously, we can do it, and we give a demo on that, right? So that is something. I give you a recap. What we learned? We learned basic of Python. We learned about Azure OpenAI Whisper model, which is speech to text. We also seen how you can deploy very easily, step by step. Now we can go at the next, the juicy part, which is called how can call that API using the Python code. Okay, so that is we will use it, and then how we can do step by step. Let's learn from here. Okay, so I already have one file. Right? Already, this is my resource. What I will do, I create a file called as a remember, if you have to deploy some models, like we had to NumPy, MATLAB, you have to also install. So what I will do, I click here, I create company as a speech dot py, okay, and it's blank. It's blank, nothing much is there. It's blank, right? But what I have to do, I have to create one more file, but it's called environment, right? So I put environment, okay. And this environment, what we are doing, right? We're hosting all our APIs, right? All our endpoints, right? So what happening, right? In this example, what I'm doing, I'm putting all my keys, our endpoint, our whisper model, and chat model, right? So let's do it again. So I'm going to share with you. Let's copy this, and we use this in our sample. Okay. So where's our key and endpoint? How we can get endpoint? Very simple. We go to our Azure OpenAI service, and here is our keys. This is my key, and this is the endpoint, right? So what I can do, I just copy this one and put inside my endpoint, right? Okay. And just let me just give you this thing, and then key I will use because I'm hide my key because I'm using for other demos. So this is my key. And the Whisper model, how we get the Whisper model? The Whisper model we can get very easily in our deployments, right? So I'm using, don't use this. This is the model name. Never use model name. We use the Whisper model and GPT because we call it GPT model, right? So I use this one. So I use my copy this Whisper model, okay, and I'm using ChatGPT, right? The model. So this is the way you can do it. It's very simple. No rocket science. I'm just reading for my, because I've used Python code, so I'm very easy to do. I just save it. I'm saving it. No issue with that. I'm just hiding my keys because I'll be using for this thing for other examples, right? So I just want to keys is the thing where you can key. The keys actually coming is embedding from here. This is our key, right? I can put the key, right? So yeah, that is something we will do. Next, what we have to do, we have to create import. we have to import. What if we import? What we have to import is import the key um, modules. Our key modules are the OpenAI service, right? So if you know about C Sharp and even in VS.NET, right, we have to use something called as a NuGet packages. We have to get NuGet packages inside. So how we can do? What I will do, I just click on my terminal. I click on my terminal, and then what I will do is that I will use something called as my environment, right? So my environment is why I'm doing it, because I can use all in this project. I can install all my packages, whether it's my Azure OpenAI, all my TensorFlow, I have installed in these packages. So I just click on that. This is my environment. Again, step-by-step guide will be given to you by Monday. You can see everything that how I can do it, but give you a demo how I can do. And there's some gotchas also. Not everything worked for me simply, but I did some troubleshooting and find it working, right? So what happening, right? Installing, you see that now a new folder is created. Now my environment. So in this environment, lot of things are embedded, right? It takes some time. Just maybe to wait for 10 seconds. So what is doing is installing all the packages. You see all the things are inside. Okay, so what is doing is installing all the packages. Now what I will do, I have activate, right? I have to go to my environment. Okay. Then I go to scripts. Okay, and then we have a one called as activate. We have to activate our packages. So I click on activate. Okay, nobody will tell you this thing because it's something which is like I learned and how they do it. Because it's easier rather than I just type there, because might be some error in the typing. Okay. Okay. Now is I have activated, which means I can install my OpenAI services, right? So that is super important. Now, if you know about Power Apps, Power Automate, we have to call an HTTP call, right? For that, we have to in Python we use something called as a request. So I will install request thing so that it will work for calling the API, right? So if you know about Power Apps, Power Automate, you have to call the HTTP. So in Python, we use something called as a request model. So what I'm doing, installing the required packages so that I can call that service. Which service? The Azure OpenAI services, which has speech to text model only. Okay, that is the beauty of what I'm doing, how we can do it, and it can be take some time because maybe you're learning the Python for the first time, so it may be difficult for you to understand the concept. But if you know about the NuGet packages and all, that is easier because you actually graduating from C Sharp to now moving to the something called as Python environment. So that's what I'm doing, right? So I can do similar thing. I can install my OpenAI services, everything I can do. It's no example which we can do inside, right? So I will just showing the examples, right? Then what it will do, I will install the OpenAI service, right? I got pip install. That is called as OpenAI, right? So that's the AI method we have to call it, right? We are using the AI model, and it's called as okay. Where is my open? Okay. Okay, so what I'm installing, the API so I can call these packages. This is something important because then in this our demo, I'm not going. This is the only two modules I'm installing. I want to install all things. Just want to give you a great glimpse that when just in the basic, when you install any packages, you have to install the basic requirements of the API to be supported. That is the only thing I'm telling you, right? So it may take some time, but let's close this thing. And it's already done, right? This is something which did. Now let's go on. You might get some errors because I'm not installed all the packages, but let me give what I have already done for you guys. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm just installing my libraries. Okay. Now in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we'll work on finish that quick. So I'm installing the request call, right? somehow it's not installed yet. It's still loading up. Okay, don't worry on this. But for we are importing important libraries called as our OpenAI services and our .NET library. This is the our environment variable, right? We installing that, right? So that's what we're doing. So that is important aspect. If you know C# coding is similar kind of concept, we do it. Then second thing, we are loading all our variables. These are all variables we're loading, right? And then we also, because we have already set all the environments, we have this all the environment. We have a key, we have endpoint. So here, these are key, endpoint, everything we are loading inside, right? So this is something which we are fetching from the environment variable file, right? That is something we do. Now, because we have to get the key, right, on the endpoint. I remember we are doing coding route. We are not doing on the UI part. We're doing any coding. So we have to get the URL for that. So I click on this endpoint. We already know. We know what's happening. Now you tell me the Aroh, how I'm getting this kind of a URL. I don't know these things. Everything is documented in the Microsoft file documentation, right? So I want to give you of how it works. So this is documentation. Everything will be shared with you. Here, what I'm doing, this is the token, this is the sample the Microsoft gave to us. And then where is my yeah, this is the variable, right? I'm using 224, lot of things. So I'm using this particular method. What I'm telling you, because Microsoft keeping updating the UI, changing the APIs. So I give a demo, I give you an example. I was doing a demo, and that day the Microsoft changed the URL, and then I can't access my demo to my customer, right? So always read the documentation and then practices before you do any customer facing or even for internal users. Always review your API calls, right? Something which is important, right? That's what we do. So last part, what we do next is that we get the thing, and I also build the headers. Important that I have to build data because we're doing anything from the scratch, so we can have full control. Everything we can do from there, right? Now, one thing is to that I have to get the voice. Where's my voice? I have a voice is I'm not put it. Let me show that one now. This is my voice. This is a full project. Okay, in this voice, I have something called as already defined called is my voice, right? So example, right? I don't know if you can hear it because I've enabled audio. In this short audio of 6 seconds, I'm speaking something, right?
5 skill set required to learn AI.
Okay, so if you don't listen, you're not able to hear just what I'm telling that give me 5 steps, five skill set required to learn AI. That is the only right. So that is the thing which what we're doing. I'm doing a speech, right? Now, what in the speech I have to change to a text. How we can use text by calling the API. Which API? Whisper model API, and then the OpenAI service in general. So this is the way I'm just sharing that how we can do it, right? So I'm done with this, right? Then later, what's important that because when I open, I have to also open the file, right? We are using a file stream. Again, we are using file stream. In C Sharp, you know, the file stream is where you open a file and the close the file. So in here, what I'm doing, I'm actually using this variable to call my path, that is my local file, and see whether it's working. This is a again documentation, you can get it from there. But what I do something called as a troubleshooting. I have a lot of errors when I do this demo. But what I will do want to say whether my data is coming file or not, right? So I do some testing. Later, when we got the reply, assume that we already got the reply. What I will do, I use something called as a final response. That is, I'm using this response for my AI, for my OpenAI services, right? This is my text. What text? The one I spoke to you, right? Spoke that give me 5 steps to learn skill set required to learn AI. Okay. Now, because I have already imported, you see that no errors here because I already imported all my packages, not NuGet packages, but the actually the pip packages inside. So I'm calling that API. I'm calling that. Remember, I'm using that API. Please read the documentation, right? And this documentation, I'm just putting the endpoint, which I'm defined here, and then creating an object. This object. right? And how we get this object? This object you're getting from documentation, right? Yep, this is documentation. So I didn't do anything. I just used this variable, this array, and copy this content. Nothing else I did. I just copied this thing and all. And what I did, I just copied this message. Where is my file, actual file? And this is the matches I have to get. So I get the user prompt. User prompt is the way I spoke, right? And I get a final discussion, the final call for that. So what happening in this method, I repeat that we are importing all our libraries, we're loading all variables in this thing, and then we're constructing an URL, which is why we showed in my in documentation. I use in documentation, I showed that URL, and I built an API build an API so that I can pass this content to Azure OpenAI. Again, I use a variable which is a voice sample. I just for testing troubleshooting, I just use try catch, same concept in C sharp and also in not Power Automate generally, but we can use a try and catch, and then I can accept. If my file doesn't exit, it will give a graceful error that file doesn't exist. But here file exists because here voice, I have this voice is there, right? And then I construct it. Later, what I'm doing, I'm just calling an API. Which API? The Whisper model API, and actually getting a response. When I get a response, I'm doing a final output, which is called as a content. Which content? This content. Okay, this is, and then what I will do, I just click on the my actual final output. Uh, okay. Yep. Yeah, so it's actually worked, right? So rather than 5, it gave me 10 inputs, but it's important. Why important? Because yeah, now yeah, I mean it's giving last year and last time yesterday it gave me 10. Now it gave me 5. So it's, I mean, um, AI is not always be perfect, but again, what is giving the thing, right? If you want to learn, recommend what you've done. Think what you have to learn. You need solid programming language. Not everybody expert. I'm not also practice of yeah, AI in Python, but we can learn. It's very simple, right? Python is one of the easiest, and in fact, in India, few of the schools in 8th, 9th classes they are teaching Python, right? That early, right? So I'm just telling you that Python is I mean, and even I'm based in Singapore. Even in Singapore also they're teaching Python. It's just for learning AI. It's just for to get the knowledge how the programming works, right? So something on that. So you don't have to learn Python. I don't know the maths and all, but if you know basics of AI of the this thing, it will help you. I have know this thing, but important. You know at least the basics, right? Basic of machine learning, of data handling, critical problem solving, and this thing. Again, tell you that AI won't be replace you if you speak clearly, you speak in a good way, and you know how to articulate your words differently. AI won't replace you because communication skills are very important at this age, right? So this is I'm giving you a very grips. I because I because I actually overshoot by 4 few minutes, but give you a glimpse at how we can easily use the uh, speech to text using just model of AI of OpenAI, but other models can be used. We can use Meta, Llama model. We can use the Gemini model. All works file. But here, because I have demo, I've already shown to you, so it's make easy for you to learn how work works. So that is a basic what I've want to share about how you can learn Python, but it's easier for to share with you on that. So, okay, yeah, it was a tough for to learn short type. Sorry, Nandibai took more than expected time. I thought of 15 minutes. It's 54 now. So sorry about that, but I hope somebody actually learned from this particular session.